road. His hero is Muhammad Ali. He was also born in the year of the cockerel. But let's hope he's not a chicken in the ring. Am I right? So, we're going to start making some noise. Let's get a slow clap going first of all. Let's get a slow clap. Speed it up. Speed it up. Speed it up. In the red corner, weighing 68 kilograms, standing at 176 centimeters. Make some noise for John the Brick Word! His boys bricks. Crisis. Instead of being able to buy one, you can now build one with foam bricks. You all done, John? Make some more noise for John the Brick Words! So his chess ELO, I can't even speak, ELO is 1,100. He has lost 2 matches so far, so let's see how he goes tonight. Give it up one more time for John the Brick Words! All right, well, who's joining him in the ring? It's time to find out. Next up is actually a first-time chess boxer. Ooh, first time out. He is exploding out of Brentwood for his first chess boxing bout. Marc Essex Bomb Sidwell is also a wine model. That deserves another woo, I think. A wine model? How does that work? He is currently the 2018, well, was the 2018 face of Riesling for Renegade Wine in Bethnal Green. Very fancy, very fancy. And he says, just like him, he's slightly dry with hints of apricots, poetry, lime and jasmine. I'm not sure what to expect with this guy. He's also worked for City AM, The New Statesman, The Telegraph, and is currently deputy editor of the new monthly magazine of ideas called Smith. Sounds riveting, doesn't it? Sounds really riveting. So let's make some noise. In the blue corner, weighing 68 kilograms, standing at 173 centimeters. Make some noise for Marc Essex Bomb Sidwell! Magic might eat your heart out. Here comes the Essex Bomb. Get some camera time. Get some camera time, Essex Bomb. Get some camera time. Camera needs you. Okay, so he's never done a chess boxing fight before, but his chess ELO is 1,200. This is going to be an interesting fight. Are you ready? Yes! Give it up for some chess boxing!
Well, guys, we're about to start the first bout of the evening. John the Brickwood versus Marc, the Essex bomb Sidwell. Predictions, Chris?
The Essex bomb, this is the first time out I've seen him, so we'll see how he goes in the chess. They're two evenly matched, if somewhat novice chess players. They've been working hard on their game, so we'll see if they both picked up a few tips and tricks since we last saw them out. John, of course, looking for his first victory.
Yeah, and I think for those who haven't seen John fight before, he's 62. He's a very pleasant-looking man, you know, with his hod of foam bricks. But he's a mean fighter. Like he packs a literal punch.
If I was in that shape at 63, well, frankly, if I was in that shape at 43, I would be very happy. 43, incidentally, the age of the Essex bomb.
Absolutely wonderful segue, Chris. Like really sort of top quality information filtering through there.
Thank you, Matt. I believe that's over 100 years in the ring, if I've done my maths right.
You know what, I think your maths is correct.
And we're off on the chess.
And we begin with a London system here, very appropriate for those who don't know which city we're in. It's London. Goodness me. Okay, knight on c6, an interesting setup for black here. Black has to find the right way to break down white's very, very solid pawn structure. How's he going to do it, Chris?
Well, at this stage, it's just about getting your pieces out, I would say, man. For now, you just want to be developing in a quite sensible manner, and then decide on your plan after maybe 7 or 8 moves as stage you're at now.
So Marc the Essex bomb, a really classy setup, really classy stuff. Putting his light squared bishop on a square to target the black king side, but black's castle queen side, good lord. So what will happen now is that black may throw his pieces down white's king side, whereas white can try to do the same up black's queen side. This could be a very, very exciting match, Chris.
Oh, when you say castled, what was... Oh, yeah, there's another bit of castling going on there, Matt. Explain what happened.
So castling is a special move in chess whereby the king and rook can swap round. The king, which normally only moves 1 square in each direction, can in fact move 2 on this time only. It truly is a rich and fascinating sport we find ourselves in, don't we?
Well said, Matt. Well said. And when one castles it, the idea is that you want to get your king tucked away in the corner, keep it nice and safe. Oh, but there's a pawn storm going on already.
So the bishop's attacked. It's close to being trapped. Will Marc the Essex bomb Sidwell? He's found a way out. The bishop is safe on e5. He's no slouch, is the Essex bomb. He is still well and truly in this.
This game is certainly exploding into life, Matt.
Oh, and he swapped up a knight for a bishop.
That's the first exchange of the game. I think the first piece has dropped off the board.
Oh, and he's taken... The knight has landed with menacing intent on the e5 square. It's hovering, it's attacking the bishop on d7, it's potentially attacking the pawn on f7, and if white can swing his pieces over to the queen side, he might just build up a bit of head of steam and aim for checkmate.
It's a strong square for the knight. I believe they say knights on the rim are dim. This is most certainly not on the rim, but planted there in the centre of black's position.
Yeah, I think black has a little bit of a disadvantage here. Okay, so he's moved his knight to h5, where it's being attacked by the queen. The queen can take the knight for 3, but will Marc spot it? The queen can just move forward diagonally, capture the knight, and black would be as good as lost at that point. But white has to spot it, and under the glare of the lights, with all of your sort of callous... Oh, he's missed it! He's missed it! The boos rain out among the arena. Thankfully they can't hear because they would be ashamed later. And he's moved it back. What a missed opportunity. It's an own goal. He's basically missed an own goal. And that's the bell. Oh my word. The drama here in Tuffnel Park.
What a moment to leave it down there, Matt. A window of opportunity there was missed by Marc. First time under the lights. That knight just there hanging dim on the rim, as I said.
You were quite right. The knight was very dim. So dim that it could have fallen off its earth entirely. But thankfully, White missed it, and then Black, realising his mistake, moved the knight away again.
How would you assess the position despite that mistake at the end of the round?
I think that White has a decent positional advantage. He doesn't have a dark squared bishop, which can be a little bit of an issue. I think his pieces are more purposeful. I can see a queenside attack happening more readily than a kingside attack, but in a position where one side has two bishops and the other doesn't, it can be very, very double-edged. So there's a hell of a lot to play for.
So the two bishops can be an advantage in a certain position. Because they say that a bishop and a knight are roughly equivalent, but they're two bishops together when your opponent doesn't have one, in quite an open position as that one is, can be a slight advantage. And White is in possession of that.
But if White can lock up the position and use his dominance on the light squares to his advantage, then he might be strategically better. There's a lot to play for. But now there's the boxing.
Exactly. We first have 2 rounds of fistic action to come before we return to the board. And as I said, we haven't seen the Essex bomb before. We have seen John the Brick Wood. He gave a good account of himself last time out in the ring. But you are giving away 20 years.
20 years, but John has a little bit of height and is more experienced.
The Essex bomber, a southpaw. Oh, John taking it to the younger man from the off there.
Oh, some really
Raining
early blows.
I'm not sure the Essex bomb was expecting this. Some windmilling back, but he's really looking to try and regain his composure here, whereas John is looking quite classical there, taking the centre of the ring, pumping out the jab, the foundation of boxing. Oh, and a big right there as well.
It's a much more frantic start than one is normally used to, particularly for people who are not that experienced at chess boxing.
Usually you try and feel a way into the bout, you know, not throw too many power shots, whereas John is just coming out, somewhat ironically given his opponent, raining bombs. In particular, with that heavy right there that he's landed a couple of times.
So Marc Sidwell's special ability is extreme anger. We saw a little flurry of it at the beginning, but he seems slightly more composed now.
I think it was more extreme shock. I mean, if you were in the ring with a 62-year-old, 63-year-old now, you wouldn't be expecting to be getting quite such a pounding. You can see the look of anger on his face, though. The right landed again. John making his height advantage really count there. You can see the extra few inches he has on his reach is making it a lot easier to land those straight punches. It's the jab and the straight right.
Only 30 seconds left. If you know the fight is coming to an end, what are you trying to do? Coming towards the end of the bout, what exactly do you want to do to put your opponent off?
I mean, at the end of the round, any boxing round, what you'd want you would be wanting to do what John is doing here. Land a couple of blows, to impress the judges. It's often a way people refer to stealing around if you land well at the end. People tend to remember that more. And another right lands there.
So
good
it
shot.
looks as if John has had the better of this one by the looks of things. He's landed more purposeful punches.
Absolutely, and also given you have the transition to chess, then if you can daze your opponent as they're going into that, then really that is the danger moment. As you're trying to reset, the adrenaline is still coursing through your veins, and you suddenly have to focus and be objective and pick up where you left off on the chess, which is not easy to do if your heads are spinning.
So something that we've been discussing recently is the chess concept of, the chess boxing concept of the Jaffa. In cricket, it's described as an unplayable ball, something that takes the opponent by surprise and can lead to a wicket. In chess boxing, we use the old Cockney rhyming slang Jaffa cake mistake to describe the possibility that when you go back into the ring, you're discombobulated and you make a horrible move first time round because it takes a bit of time to adjust.
We saw some mutual Jaffa cakes in that first round. John leaving his knight hanging, and then his opponent just failing to chop it off as he could do. So, mutual Jaffa cakes.
Yes, no, absolutely. I think the issue you have when you're an inexperienced player is that sometimes things don't come intuitively, and an opportunity that you're not expecting will pass you by. I think these guys with a little bit more experience on the board and in the ring would see a move like that, for black, not play it, and for white, just spot that the queen can take it in one go. But these guys are both still relatively new to this, so there may be more mistakes to come.
We saw, in the relative inexperience, we saw, and despite that mistake, we did see some excellent play, I thought, in that first. I mean, as you point out, some classical opening play from Marc there.
Yeah, very. The London system is a very solid opening that works at all levels. He went for the sort of typical structure, albeit with a bishop on d3 rather than e2. And we're back. Okay, so, in case you don't remember, Black had the opportunity to try and swing his knight in. He blundered his knight, but White didn't spot it. So we're back to square one. Things are relatively even, and now Black has put his rook behind the g-pawn. He's going to try and throw his pawns down. Oh my word, h4! We've already had a very, very early mistake. Why is that such a bad move, Chris? And he...
I mean, I would not be moving my pawns in front of my king. Oh, that's an illegal move. Take it back.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness me. Oh, dear, dear, dear. His brain has been frazzled by the early flurry of punches by John the Brickwood. One of the most powerful... one of those powerful pensioners you'll ever come across, and now Black is solely creating an advantage for himself. He's swinging his pieces onto the king's side. He's got a rook, he's got a knight, his queen might come into play. I think that White is in a bit of trouble here.
He's exposed himself. He really has exposed himself and left his king wide open there by moving the pawns that were meant to be protecting it, and now John is just piling into his position.
Yeah, White has to be very careful. Oh no! Oh no, now that knight is on pre. The rook can just take it. The rook can just take the knight for free. It's another horrendous blunder. And he's done it! He's done it! What a turnaround! What a turnaround! Black was on the figurative ropes, and now he's a piece of the pawn up. He's got a massive attack. He's doing better in the boxing. Black very, very much with the initiative here.
Yeah, but, I mean, this could end in this round if there are any further mistakes from Marc.
Yeah, White is in a serious, serious spot of bother here. Knight to e5 is a good idea, though. He's attacking the rook, and the rook, if it moves, will leave the knight under threat. That's actually a very, very useful plan by White. If you can create threats of your own, then... Oh, OK, so the rook has gone to g5. It's protecting the knight. What White needs to look at now is the possibility of playing a move like f4. Then, if the rook were to move, then the knight would drop. But he can't play f4 in this position, can he, Chris?
It's just too exposing. It's far too exposing. And then the rook would...
He's done it, though!
And then the rook is just going to come in, take that pawn on g3 with check, and it's going to be even more open. It could be over this round.
Oh, it's happened. This is an absolute bloodbath, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted you enjoyed that. The king has moved to h2. White is not lost yet, but the issue with chess is, unlike tennis or football, if you go material down, you don't simply reset, you have that disadvantage for the rest of the game. However, Black's knight is being attacked, and he's missed it! The knight is on pre. If the queen captures the knight, then actually White might get it! He's done it!
He has taken it!
And that's the bell! Oh, my word.
Material balance semi-restored at the end of the game, of the round there. Really topsy-turvy round there. We thought White was cooked, and then suddenly a little chink there for him at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think quite a big chink, actually, in so much that that knight, not only is it extra material that he's won, that was a key attacking resource for Black. I think if he moved his knight back, then he would be clearly winning and would potentially just clear up the win the following round. As it stands now, I think it's got a bit more work to do. I think Black is clearly better, but there's a lot left in it, and if Marc Sidwell can get an advantage in the boxing, compel some more mistakes, or maybe even get a knockout punch, then, you know, things will be completely different.
That king, though, is horribly exposed. Of course, it has to be hunted down, but it's the equivalent of leaving your head wide open for a wild swinging hook to land there. It's just asking for it, I would say.
Yes, absolutely. I think if Black can swing his pieces onto that side of the board, the queen in particular, which has the possibility of really combining quite nicely with the rook, then White will be in a lot of trouble. But given the fact these guys are not experienced players, the boxing is an additional factor. There's a lot to play for.
Marc, with a lot to do in this boxing round, he's really going to have to come out strong, given what's going on with the chess. But it's probably back into the same pattern as the first round. John's pumping out the jab, and another classy right lands there from John.
Yeah, slightly less frantic, though. It seems that both sides have kind of settled slightly, and it seems a little bit more positional, a bit more tactical.
Yeah, I think they've established the pattern in the first round. I think Marc knows that he's going to have to try and work his way in into short amount. But John again, just driving his opponent back. This really is very impressive when you're giving away 20 years in age.
That was a lovely little shimmy there by John the Brickwood, 62 years old, lest we forget. A really quite remarkable man. It's
quite classical boxing here as well. He's doing those straight punches. Just what you should be doing as the taller fighter. Just keep your opponent at bay. Keep the short man off of you. Control it from the centre of the ring. That's exactly what he's been doing.
Well, this is a man that presumably remembers the 70s extremely clearly, and therefore will naturally find himself in a classical mode, something to aspire to. But no, he's doing well. He's doing well. But it doesn't seem like one side is so clearly better that would override the chess, right?
True, but I think given the chess situation, big right hand there again from John. So if you're Marc, really, you want to be forcing the pace in, not the other way around. Right to the body, jab again. The Essex bomb, nods in appreciation. Certainly you can't fault him for determination. That look on his face.
Yeah, absolutely, it really is a sight to behold, and on his first fight as well, that extreme anger seeping through with every glancing look, every stare, every gaze. But he's on the back foot here, isn't he?
It looks like he's going to have to taking his chance in the chess, definitely. And he, as you know, he's working out. The bell goes. Marc sees his way through the round, but again, he was very much on the receiving end there. He'll have to hope that the momentum that he was starting to swing his way on the chess stays with him at the resumption of the round.
Yeah, I think if John, for instance, blunders that crucial h4 pawn, which is, it's kind of holding his rook on g3. It has the opportunity to push to h3 later in the game. But it's exactly the sort of thing that a less experienced player might not see as such a big advantage. If he ends up missing the opportunity to utilise that, then White could get back in the game. The other thing as well is you have to have several pieces to create an attack. Currently, Black only really has the rook on g3, so he's going to have to think strategically, and that's not easy to do when you've had a number of punches to the face.
Exactly, there's no immediate knockout blow, as it were. If one had more time to think about it, then what you would do is simply develop your pieces, understanding that exposed king isn't going to find sanctuary anytime soon, but to play so calmly in these circumstances.
Here we go. The next round, I think it's going to be a crucial one.
Either the attack is going to find its way home, or we might see some pieces exchanged, in which case the Essex bomb has a chance to take things into the deeper rounds.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the most crucial bout of the match, possibly in either the chess or the boxing. It feels like one where one side can really take a big initiative that is going to define everything else that we see. Who's your money on, Chris?
It has to be on John with the position, but as you say,
and we're back. He's got his hand. He's out. Rook takes e3. Goodness me. So the rook is no longer on the G file, but material is material, and the more pawns and pieces you can pick up, the easier it'll be to win. But what would you want to be doing here if you're Black, Chris? What's your strategy?
So White has that very exposed king, that rash push that he made in the last round. If I was Black, first of all, I would be saving my queen, I think.
That knight is attacking that queen with ludicrous intent. It's not a subtle move, but after the boxing, who knows? And he's found it! He's moved this queen to d6, eyeing up that f4 pawn, which is now going to become a target. The issue that John has is that the h4 pawn is now very weak. Given that the material has swung back towards near equality, if the h pawn drops, he's played c4 here, opening up the position, which is fine. White needs to attack the Black king here, otherwise he's just going to get checkmated. I think c4 is a useful move. The problem is that you're also opening up some weaknesses on the dark square. Oh, and he's captured the bishop on d3. No matter how good a strategic move, if you lose material, you lose material. And he's taken the pawn on d5. Now, if the rook goes down one square, it's check. The king is starting to run out of squares, and then the queen can capture the d5 pawn and create a checkmating attack. And if it's checkmate, the game is over. No matter what happens, I'll start that again. No matter what happens in the boxing, the game is over, and he's done it! He's playing rook to d2 check. The king is in a lot of trouble here.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, really, there's only a couple of squares it can go to, and that queen is going to come into the attack, as you say. It could be, again, it could be...
Oh! King h1. So now, if the queen takes d5 check, he's going to have to block it on f3. But I think the tide is turning. h3. Oh, I'm not sure that was strictly necessary. I think if the queen takes it, it's still covering f3, and that is a lost pawn. But black still with a clear advantage here, but he can't rest on his laurels. He has to get his pieces out. He could play moves like bishop e8, pinning the knight to the queen, and letting the rook go down the d file. He absolutely can play queen takes d5 check, and then take the pawn on d4. And either he's going to win all the pawns, or he's going to checkmate him.
Yeah, checkmate has to be the objective here. And again, he can just take that pawn with check, and then there's only the blocking move with either the queen or the knight. Oh, he's taken the wrong pawn! He's left his queen!
A horrendous move by black. The queen can just be taken. This is going to change the game. If the rook takes the queen, black was winning, and he'll then be losing. But he has to spot it. What is his frazzled, discombobulated brain going to tell him to do? Will he see it? And that's the bell! And that's the bell!
My word, man, my word. He had it there for the taking.
It was clearly winning for black. Black had the win in his sight. Queen takes d5. He would have had so much material. He could have taken on d4. After that, he could have moved his bishop onto c6. All his pieces were rushing in, and he's blundered a queen for nothing. White still has to spot it, but literally, if he spots that, that is game over.
Oh, well, we've said that about 3 or 4 times, it feels, and yet just when someone's been on the cusp, they've managed to blunder it. I mean, that is shocking. At the end of a round as well, at the beginning of a round, I could understand that when you're feeling a little bit frazzled. But at that point, when you've had a couple of minutes to really reset yourself, he played an excellent round up to that point. Yeah, he took the piece that was on offer. He didn't get flustered by that c4 push opening up a line. So he worked his queen into the game. Surely he was going to see queen takes that pawn with check. And he just had a brain fade and took the wrong pawn.
Yeah, I mean, c4 was a good strategic idea. Unfortunately, it just lost a bishop, but blundering your queen is a very, very critical mistake. I don't know. They're still playing it, but I feel that might be one blunder too much.
Yeah, that much material. So now really John is going to have to try and press home that advantage. Why I assume he recognises that his queen is on pre when they come back to chess. So he is going to have to come out and try and land a few more of those heavy right hands.
I mean, it was a good time for the bell to go. It would be very, very easy for White to look at a position, just see that checkmate was being threatened on h2, and then panic, try and stop the checkmate but not take the queen. But I think the Essex bomb would do well to get a few punches in here.
I mean, he wants to stay out of trouble. Again, but really all he needs to do now is make it through this round. If I was Marc, what I would be doing was being very, very mobile, staying out of range, and letting John chase you, but he's taking the fight to John. I'm not sure it's the wisest move. Certainly not with those right hands that John is now throwing with abandon.
Ooh. Good block there by the Essex bomb. But I mean, John, very, very impressive in the boxing, very, very composed, just kind of diligently sticking to his task, just unflustered and impressive.
Well, unflustered, but then how do you go through this round knowing that your queen is about to be chopped off as soon as you go back to the chess? Hard to put that to one side.
Yeah, and the other thing to consider, of course, is time is a critical factor as well. Both sides got about a minute and a half left on the clock in the chess, but some people panic on...
Another right there landed on the chin.
Some people panic in time trouble in ways that others don't. With both of these guys being relatively inexperienced, it's a bit of an unknown quantity. One of them may just let their clock run out, and if that happens, it's game over.
clock handling vital, but at this point, it's not what they're thinking about. It's as we get to the end of the third boxing round. You can see John is starting to tire a little bit, as one would if he was 63.
And that's the ball.
Yeah, John's certainly looking a little bit like he's feeling the pace towards the end of that round. And I think you can see in his eyes that he knows what's going to be coming in the next chess round. And it's not going to be pleasant.
No, I think it's going to be very difficult for John to play his best chess in this scenario. I think if the rook takes the queen, then it's game over. He had a bit of additional material beforehand, so potentially some play in it, given the time situation and given the unique circumstances of chess boxing. But fundamentally, it's a big blunder and will probably decide the game.
Yeah, the queen easily the most powerful piece on the board. If you lose that between two players of even reasonable strength, then that should be decisive.
Yeah, I mean, queen takes f4 is... I really feel for Black in that situation. He had done all the right things. He picked up an additional pawn on e3, which was useful as a strategic concept. His opponent blundered a bishop on d3, and he took that. He just needed to get his queen to a slightly safer square, and the game was probably his.
Yeah, it really was a bad move. I mean, let's call a chess spade a spade, as it were. That's an outright blunder.
I mean, I like John a lot. I don't want to disparage much that he's saying, but I think you're right. I think pure objectivity has to feature here, and yes, it is comfortably the worst move we've seen all evening. Whether it is that, whether that's the case by the end of the evening, we will see.
I think there are certainly a lot more blunders and topsy-turvy games to come. But of course, we're assuming that White, his opponent, is going to actually see that. We have had a round of boxing in the interim.
Yeah, and John has always got some useful punches in. It's going to be difficult for... And that's the bell. And we're back. So, if White sees rook takes f4, winning a queen for nothing, that's game over. And he's seen it!
But what about the time? What about the time, Matt? They both don't have much left. You can see 1 minute 10 we're coming up to for John Wood. And barely that before...
Bishop to d6, that's a good move. That's a great last roll of the dice here. Now if the rook moves, the rook can go to h2 with check, and maybe, just maybe, you can build up a little bit of an attack.
Yeah, that king is still exposed. Even if he's lost his queen, then the king is still pretty open to attack from Black.
I don't know. I'm not sure about e5. I think knight takes f5 now. The position is starting to get a little bit dicey for Black. He doesn't have enough pieces in the game. He really needs to marshal his remaining forces, throw all his men towards the king, and just hope against hope that White makes a catastrophic error. But time is a critical factor. No matter how good your position, if you have no time left, it's game over. Oh, he's played h2. The pawn is a move away from becoming a queen. Is that a realistic consideration, Chris?
I think it's unlikely to happen at this point. However, we're down to the last 30.
What a
now it's going to happen.
Move. What a horrendous move by White. He can just take it. He can just take the rook. Oh, what an absolute calamity. What a horrendous display of amateurishness. His brain frazzled by the lights, by your condemnation and your jeers, and he's done it! And he's done it! And it's swung back round! What a glorious game this is! And now, oh no, the rook was better placed on d2. You need to bring your pieces in. You need to bring your pieces in, Black. But big time advantage. He's got 20-odd seconds left. 22, 21, 20. Numbers, ladies and gentlemen, all getting lower and lower. And the rook is not doing anything on c3. Not sure what the pawn's doing either. But White's got less time. White's got so much less time. 10 seconds. He has to wait to the boxing. He has to get to the boxing, otherwise it's game over. He's going to run. And the rook's on free. Oh, my word. Wow. You can take it.
I mean, just move at this point. Just move.
It's check. You take it. Just take it. 2 seconds. 1 second. Is that time? It's time. Black wins. Black wins on time. Oh, my word.
Black wins on time in a frankly horrendous position. But at that point, it's just about shoving the pieces as quick as you can. Stick them anywhere.
What an awful round of chess. just dreadful, just utterly, utterly dreadful. There was no teachable moment there. Everything was calamity after calamity, but John the Brickwood prevailed for his first ever win on his third time of trying, and I think the balance of play, it was well deserved.
Let's bring it together, guys. Let's announce our winner. I think you know who it is. On the chest, due to time running out, John the Brickwood! Let's make some noise for both our fighters. When you get a second, guys. So have a couple of words. So John, let's start with you. How are you? How are you feeling about this? Is this your first win?
Yeah, it's the first win, yeah.
Oh, his first win! That was getting really tight on the chest there. How did you keep your cool?
Well, I wasn't keeping my cool, but I recognised that Marc's just as shit as me at chess. So it was about the time in the end, and I usually run out of time, but Marc ran out of time.
Oh, let's begin to you, Marc. Give it up one more time, a chessboxing virgin for the night. How did it feel? How did you find it?
It was amazing, amazing. It's so much fun. And this crowd is fantastic. Thank you.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So let's give it up one more time for both our fighters of your first bout. Oh, that was exciting. It just goes to show you never know what can happen. Take too long, you can run out of time.
See there, recap what we saw in that last frantic
Windsor
round of chess action.
Actuarial Consultants, supporting London chessboxing.
Let's keep the fun coming. So up next, another chessboxing first timer. Yeah, so give him your support. He is an Anglo-Iranian with bags of combat sport experience. I'm going to reel this off. Are you ready? He's done Kung Fu, karate, kickboxing, wrestling, and now chessboxing. What? I'm scared already. He's also a professional landlord. He might be a nice one. He might be the kind that comes straight out if your boiler breaks. We don't know. However, it's an interesting fight, this one, because the next, his opponent is also a landlord. I know, so it's the battle of the landlords tonight, isn't it? And funny enough, when they're training, they love to talk about mortgage rates and housing yields. Any renters in? Renters? Maybe you can grill him afterwards. Let's see how we go. He's also got a master's degree in computer hacking, clever guy. And once when he was at uni, their professor challenged them to hack his account. And the professor was actually the IT security architect at the university. And our next chess boxer did hack his account and cost the university £50,000. So I don't know about you, I think this guy's dangerous. Let's give him a welcome. In the red corner, weighing 75 kilograms, standing at 170 centimeters. Do we have his music? Cheyenne the Kingstonian Zani! Here is the Kingstonian! his immovable inertia. He doesn't have a chess boxing record, but his chess ELO is 1800. So give it up one more time for Shane, the Kingstonian Zaddy! All right. You ready for your second landlord? No! So our next chess boxer said he prepared for this fight by giving up smoking on Tuesday. I mean, he tried, what can we say? Crazy Arms, as he's known, is the world's most prolific and experienced chess boxer, having fought an unbelievable 30 times as of tonight. Yeah. He's often known as Lazy Arms by the crowd due to his distinctly pedestrian punch output. You'll see what I mean when you see it. His speciality is a lethally quick playing style at chess, as he hopes to avoid any unnecessary boxing. And that, he claims, is due to poor lifestyle choices and poor training discipline. So he may have the brawn. He may not have the brawn, in fact, but clearly he has the brain, so let's make some noise. In the blue corner, weighing 85 kilograms, standing at a whopping 200 centimetres, Chessboxing's answer to Mr. Tickle. Give it up for Matt's Crazy Arms Reed. He's got an amazing record against our lovely chess boxing newbie. So we're going to enjoy this bout. Let's make some noise for both our fighters.
So Matt, we have the most prolific chess boxer in the world, Matt Crazy Arms Reed, against a debutante. What do we know about Cheyenne, his opponent?
I mean, he says that he has an ELO rating of over 1800, which would make him an extremely useful chess player. Certainly no slouch. You would expect him to play the opening very confidently. You wouldn't expect him to make big material blunders in the way that we saw in the last match. And overall, I think the quality of the chess today in this bout should be very high.
Yeah, so 1800 would make him about the standard of Matt, although Matt is renowned for being a speed specialist, which is what you need in chess boxing. So it'll be interesting to see in this first round how they match up and how Cheyenne can handle the blitzing style of Matt Reed. Matt. And we are off. Matt Reed with the white pieces. And he plays b4. A very unusual move there, Matt.
Yeah, that's the orangutan opening, Matt's favourite. Incidentally, Matt Reed with another shameless attempt to curry favour with the audience by having a song that everyone knows as his theme tune. And I trust that people will give him a required chorus of boos at various intervals during the boxing and during the chess, because quite frankly, it's no less than he deserves. Yep.
Two landlords here. Frankly, it's a race to the bottom, but not in terms of chess skill. This is quite an intriguing opening, Matt.
Yeah, no, good stuff. I mean, Matt Crazy Arms Reed playing very, very thematically in the Sokolsky. He has what is known as a fianchetto. Apologies for any Italian speakers in the crowd. Oh, a pawn capture. Oh, that is delicious. That is just lovely. Right, so the bishop comes to g4. So a nice sort of gentle, strategic start. It doesn't look like we're going to get the same level of blunders. But is knight takes e5 a possibility here, Chris? Is that a hanging pawn on e5?
I believe it is, and it would be uncovering an attack on that black bishop on g4 as well.
Oh, he's playing knight f6. He's playing knight f6. So I think, if my eyes don't deceive me, knight takes e5 is possible, and that would be an early blow. That would be an early blow. He's done it! Oh, he's done it. That's lovely. That is lovely stuff. Knight takes e5, a free pawn. Bishop takes bishop. Good swap off, queen takes. White has an extra pawn. Doesn't seem like much, but pawns can become queens, and they're all really, really important. Really important in the ending. White also potentially going to take some useful control over the light squares. Queen b5 check is a possibility. Hitting the b7 pawn. Queen f3 will be a possibility in some lines. I think White already has a pretty big advantage.
And strategic considerations aside, the pieces are just well developed. All you want to be doing at the start is get your pieces out and take any opportunities that present themselves, like that free pawn that Cheyenne was offering up there.
Yeah, castling is a good move. Black needs to get his pieces out and hope to make some strategic inroads later on. I'm a little bit concerned for Black here. That dark squared bishop is menacing down the a1 to h8 file. White's pieces have a little bit more scope. I like the b1 knight manoeuvring into f3 or to c4. Rook e8, a good move. Oh, a cowardly retreat by Crazy Arms there. Just awful. Just dreadful, dreadful chess. But he's got that extra pawn, so I think things should be okay for him. If the extra pawn were on the board for Black, this would be roughly even, but White has a clear edge.
Turgid nonetheless, man. Turgid chess.
And who would expect any better from a player of White's caliber?
And we haven't seen him box yet, and we're told he's really even lazier when it comes to that.
So knight e5 is an interesting idea. Oh, he's captured it! Knight takes e5, and that's the bell! That's the bell! High quality stuff, high quality stuff. White's pawn win early on, the key factor so far, but still lots to play for. Give him a round of boos if you can, ladies and gentlemen. Just a few boos so they know you're here. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Make them certain that their choice of profession was utterly misguided.
Bastards, the lot of them. But coming back to what we just saw at the end, I think, a lot of it, a mass exchange on the e5 square there, and that only has to favour Matt. That's the one with the pawn up, just take the sing out of the position and just nurse that advantage through to the end game.
Yeah, I think so. I suppose the only thing to consider is that White's light squared bishop had perhaps a little bit more potential than White's dark squared bishop had more potential than Black's dark squared bishop on d6, and actually swapping those off even if you're a pawn down in a discipline like this where, you know, speed chess, you're not going to be playing super quickly, it makes it a bit less dangerous for Black, and if Black comes out strongly in the boxing, it may prove to be a decent tactic.
So Cheyenne, an experienced martial artist. We saw him with the nunchucks earlier. Unfortunately for him, he can't take those into the ring, but let's see how he can do with his fists. Matt, as has been noted, not the most voluminous in terms of punch output. However, not called Crazy Arms for nothing. Those really are a fine pair that he has on him, so to speak, and then when he puts them to good effect, he can really keep you at bay. You can see the height difference there. This is there facing up. So for Cheyenne, what he's going to have to do is try and work his way in and pound away on that frankly exposed and fairly puny ribcage.
What would you say is the principal advantage of height? Are you trying to literally punch them on the top of the head, Chris?
It's more that it confers the extra reach that you can see Matt has in those arms. So he can keep Cheyenne at bay. I'll pause there as there's some early action. So you can keep your opponent at bay with your lengthier reach. And also punching down is just easier than punching up. It gets draining after a while. You can punch up. He's well advised to get on his bike and be moving around the ring as he is doing.
So those of you at home who are only following this on this Twitch stream, can we point you to our Twitter handle, LDN Chessboxing. We're also on Instagram on London_Chessboxing as well. So, you know, do pass it on. This will be active all evening, and we'd love to hear from you.
Well said, Matt. Well said. Coming back to the action, Cheyenne seems to have stabilised things a little bit after a kind of early flurries from Matt. I think he's worked out that he needs to keep a bit of an unusual flying two-fist attack there, unconventional, maybe just trying to throw his opponent. But certainly he seems to have stabilized things after shipping a few blows. That's good. Body punching, that's what you want to do against a tall fighter.
My feeling is like Cheyenne's sort of athleticism and his sort of natural affinity with combat sports is definitely shining through. But he's looking, you know, perhaps more confident. Like there's a little bit of overconfidence. There's a lot of sort of like lurching and sort of expectation he's going to hit a big punch, or maybe he needs to be more circumspect.
I think I'll pause there. He was trapped in the corner. I mean, a couple of good rights to the body. So actually, I think Cheyenne is adjusting well here because fighting the tall man. What you want to be doing is hitting into the body. Don't worry about trying to reach that head in the early rounds. You start bang to the body, slow him down, and then when he's a bit more immobile, that's where you can start trying to land the headshots. He came back to it at the end. I would probably still give that round to Matt just for those early flurries. But Cheyenne, I think his experience in combat sports standing him in good stead there, because you're used to having to adjust mid-round, which is what he did there. And the chessboard coming back in. So a slight advantage to white. A pawn is a pawn, especially amongst two, to give a slightly cryptic remark, but amongst two high-class players like this. It's the smallest material advantage you can have, but a very significant one nonetheless, especially as the pieces are starting to come off the board, Matt.
Yes, and I think what Black needs to be very careful with the piece exchanges that he makes. He can make some, but if all the pieces come off, if we're just left with king and pawns versus king and one fewer pawn, that's going to be a very trivial win for a player of Matt's quality. So I think this is an important round for Black. I think Black needs to come up with a strategy that keeps himself active, keeps pieces on the board, and poses Matt practical problems. Because as I said, I think swapping off is okay, but it really does matter what Black does next.
And of course, endings are notoriously difficult to win. Technically, you have to be really very correct with that pawn advantage, and you know, in speed chess, even without the boxing, it can be quite hard to convert.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's...
So Matt, where were we at the end of the last round?
Well, Chris, we've had a swap. We've had an early swap. So the bishops have come off. White has an extra pawn. He has 7 pawns. Black has 6, and otherwise material is equal. This is a critical advantage if some more pieces come off the board. But Black needs to come up with an active plan here. If Black can play active, then White's advantage can be minimised.
I mean, yep, rook h5, I was thinking, yep, that's targeting the pawn in front of the queen. I like that.
Yeah, rook d1. Rook d1 is a really, really decent move. Rook h5 feels like the right idea if you want to kind of exert pressure on your opponent, but the rook is a little bit misplaced. Rook to d4, so he's going to double on the d file. It removes that square from his knight, so I'm not sure about the d4 square specifically, but it does prevent the knight landing on g4, so it's a useful kind of multi-purpose, slightly defensive move. Defensive chess is, of course, Matt Crazy Arms Reed's forte. He doesn't have a creative bone in his body. Nevertheless, an interesting idea.
Squeezing the life out of this, but nonetheless he still holds the advantage here.
Matt Reed, of course, a neighbour and a close friend of mine who encourages this kind of level of challenge in order to better further his chess abilities.
And those rooks have doubled up now, Matt, so what do you mean when we say the rooks have doubled on that file?
So that you've got 2 rooks that are going down the d file. Potentially, if it can land on the d7 square, it's going to exert pressure against the pawns on b7 and on f7 whilst attacking the queen. At the moment, the knight is protecting that square, but that limits what Black can do. Now, c6 is a good move in so much that it allows, okay, h3. The knight can hop into the d5 square here. Oh, rook h6, I'm not sure about that. That feels like a kind of lacking a plan move. It does allow the square for the knight, but I really think the knight needs to be going to d5 to put pressure on the c3 square. c4 is a very, very good move, and I think the things are starting to swing in Matt's favour. The advantage is becoming fairly compelling now.
Yeah, c4 followed up by c5 and then plant that rook deep into the black's position. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's a
good
move.
follow-up.
It's a good move, although it does give black the d5 square, and if the knight now comes to d5, white is going to have to play e4 to dislodge it. Then the knight can come to f4, which would be potentially a little bit tricky. So rook d6 would make sense as a plan for white now. King h2.
Well, of course, black was threatening to take that pawn on h3 with the rook lined up against the king there, so
Yeah,
sensible
no, you're right,
defensive
you're right.
precautions.
It is sensible, it is sensible. I don't think the dark squares are sufficiently weak for this spin issue. Knight e4, good positional chess, and there's a big threat here. There's a really big threat, and that's the bell! Black is threatening to put the knight on c3, winning a rook for a knight. White might miss it. White might miss it next move.
This is strong manoeuvring chess. I know we were criticising it somewhat for its lack of sharpness as in the previous bout that we saw. Nonetheless, both players are manoeuvring quite well. I know black was, you weren't a fan of the rook h5 plan, but I think in chess boxing, when having some kind of threat, even if it's optical as much as anything else, can put a lot of pressure on your opponent. And black was coming into it there at the end.
Yeah, I think that was actually a very well-played round of chess, particularly under the circumstances. My feeling was the rook manoeuvres felt a little bit artificial, a bit hacky, and you know what, in this discipline, I think that's fine. I temporarily missed that the queen was threatening h3, and that would have been a really good move. So fair enough, but I think what's striking is that black is struggling to find the right plan with his knight, and he maybe needs to take a few sort of pauses to come up with a plan rather than insta-playing. And in that respect, he's playing into Matt's hands a bit because Matt is playing instantaneously, which he has the luxury of doing due to his extra experience.
Yeah, and time, as we noted before, a vital factor here. But let's see how the boxing goes with the second round of boxing. Cheyenne adjusted well, as we noted, towards the end of the first round. So let's see how whether he continues the body attack that he was deploying previously. Matt, as you would expect, standing there in the center of the ring, pumping out the jab, trying to use that extra reach. Cheyenne will be trying to work his way in, and perhaps to counter with a punch to those exposed ribs if Matt leaves that jab hanging out. So there you go, you saw it in play. Matt landed a couple of headshots, and then Cheyenne came back with a banging right to the ribs. Yeah,
Matt's kind of, this is very, very sort of classic Matt Reed, isn't it? Very composed, very unflappable, just going about his business, isn't he? And actually, that was a good hit. That was a good hit.
He landed a strong right there after a little combo from Cheyenne, but this is much more even than the first round.
Yeah.
I think Cheyenne has adjusted to the unique challenge that is posed by fighting somebody who is 2 meters tall.
Yeah, and it might be that he went into this thinking that his extra youth, his extra experience in other disciplines would be the decisive factor, but actually Matt's experience is kind of, it's very clear that this is a man who knows what he's doing.
Yeah, and he's looking quite light on his feet as well, man, actually. A little bit of, if you look at the footwork there, he's the one who's dancing around, which is good to see from somebody advancing in their years.
Yeah, it's a sort of more attritional stuff, isn't it? Ooh. As with the chess, there's been a little flurries here and there, but nothing groundbreaking.
No, but this is good, solid technique. I mean, again, if you compare it to the first fight, on both the chess and the boxing, the technique, perhaps for the chess boxing purist, there's a bit more to admire there. Even if the outright excitement for those who are new to watching on Twitch, so it'll be twitch.tv/chessboxing. But just as I say that, Matt opening up.
And that's the bell as well. The well-timed bell for Cheyenne there. I think he needed that there. He was in danger of falling foul of a bit of a melee, which he, saved by the bell, as the cliche goes.
Indeed, Matt there sat down in his corner. I noticed his corner man is, well, one of his corner men was, I believe, Mike the Bevershire Bull Botley. A former chess boxer himself, so there are quite a few old names in the circuit here, but coming back to the board, so we were saying it was quite a manoeuvring game that we've had.
It is, yeah. I mean, now that Black is threatening this move knight c3. I think it's always good to pose your opponent practical challenges. Just obviously you never know exactly when the bell's going to ring, but that's timed very well for Black. He was saved by the bell in the last round of boxing, and he was kind of helped by the bell in the previous round. I think if Matt spots it, he's still better. Black's pieces just feel, you know, they feel a little more purposeful. I feel that White would win this with best play, but you're unlikely to get both sides playing that absolute best in this circumstance. So it should be a very intriguing round to follow.
I mean, I've been, as always, impressed by the quality of play from Matt, and Cheyenne has lived up to his billing as a strong chess player as well. It's been high class, some very subtle stuff here, less of the fireworks we had in the first bout, but I quite like this manoeuvring. So Matt, there's a threat here that Crazy Arms has to defend against. Has he seen it?
Yeah, so he's moved his rook back to d3, which stops the knight coming to c3, so no immediate win for Cheyenne here.
And Matt still has that extra pawn.
Matt does still have that extra pawn, yes. The knight can now come into d4 as well. I think what White needs to be careful of here is Black has got slightly more tricks. So he's played queen to f6 specifically to stop the knight coming in to d4, because that would mean the f2 pawn would drop and Black would seize the initiative. However, if White plays his rook to d7, unless there are any tactical things I've spotted, I think that's a really useful idea. Oh, rook to f1, rook to f1. He's been conned into playing an overly defensive move. Yeah, oh dear, I think the boxing round was taking a little bit out of Crazy Arms there. He really needed to use his doubled rooks, go down the d file, go to d7 and create some threats of his own, because, knight g5 again. Knight takes, good move there. You want to swap off.
There is one major threat here, though, that Matt has to see.
The tension you could literally cut with a knife, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely chocker, but he's blocked it. Oh, he's queen f2, and the tension dissipates as if into air. Back to where we were, ladies and gentlemen. White is a pawn up, a clear pawn up, and actually now the knights have gone off. He's sort of manoeuvring his queen back and forth, but he's lacking purpose. The critical issues are White's got an extra pawn, and he's got this rook on the d-file.
And when you've got the extra pawn, the more pieces that come off, the more you feel that advantage. So Matt's doing very well here, and slowly but surely exchanging the pieces with his opponent. Yep, that's a good move. I like that. Getting that queen behind the rook, threatening to penetrate again. Yeah,
that's a slightly less jittery move than rook f1 before, because the queen is... Oh! Rook d8, a nice idea. A really, really nice idea by Matt Reed. Okay, so this is getting pretty tasty for White now. I like his position. I think he can make something out of it. It's not going to finish this round, though. Like the boxing, it's been attritional. It's been high quality. Not perfect. He's swapping off. Matt knows his job. Matt knows his job. He's just going to swap off all the major pieces. You put your queen onto d4. You put your rook... Queen on d2, yeah.
That's fine, yeah, defend that pawn on f2, defend the one weakness, and then you can swing the rook behind it. Yeah, this is high-quality technical stuff.
He's going to play rook d1, he's playing rook d1! He's threatening checkmate, It's actually very difficult to stop. It's very difficult to stop. If Black doesn't stop, he has
queen c8, good move. Good move, Cheyenne.
He's done it. Oh. This has been a very, very high-quality game. Not perfect, but the guys have equipped themselves well, and queen d4, a good positional move. Matt is seizing the initiative. Cheyenne rather saved by the bell here, but I think White is seizing a big advantage.
I think that was an excellent round there, Matt.
Yeah, that was a high-quality game of chess.
So Matt, I know we criticised him a little for his prophylaxis at the beginning of the game, of that round rather, but he was paying attention to the one weakness that he had, beating off the attack. And then he centralised his piece as well. I really like that queen behind the rook manoeuvre. It's often quite hard to see the queen coming back like that. Normally you think, oh, the queen should always be going forward, coming towards the opponent, but coming behind the rook, using that to then ram the rook down that d-file, and then swapping off. Very classy manoeuvre there, just accentuated the advantage. And really now he's got a wonderfully centralised position, still got that extra pawn.
Yeah.
and it's hard to see how black can do anything other than really try and survive now.
Yeah, I mean, at the start of the round, black was a pawn down, but had the more active pieces. He swapped off his very active knight for white's less active knight, and he allowed white's pieces, the queen and the rook, to really start menacing the black king. The h-pawn is a little bit weak. The d-file is absolutely horrendous, and I really think a player of Matt's ability should be able to convert it in a round or two.
Exactly, and now, of course, really one of the most intriguing elements of chess boxing is that the position on the board dictates your strategy in the ring, and Cheyenne, really has to come out swinging on this one. I mean, he could certainly hope to maybe fight for a draw in the chess at best, but he should be looking to step up his aggression here, which he's not doing, although he's giving a wary eye on Matt, looking to count. Oh, it's a good counter there to the ribcage again.
So with my chess hat on for a sec, I'm a little concerned that Cheyenne hasn't registered how bad his chess position is. Queen c8 was a good move, but it's kind of emblematic of how defensive he is now, and I think it's very easy for white to play that position and just create pressure. He's playing like a man who thinks he still has some chances in the chess, and I really think that his chances are less than he thinks, and he, as you say, actually needs to come out on the attack here, if nothing else, to compel a few mistakes from Matt, either in the boxing or the chess.
I think it's certainly what he needs to be doing, but easier said than done when you're fighting against somebody with that height advantage. And you can just see that experience of the first boxing round has made Shen just a little bit more cautious to come in than he would otherwise. A nice little duck under that wild swinging hook there by Cheyenne, but he didn't quite manage the counter that you want to be following that up with. A hook lands short for Matt there. A rare punch, it's not the left or the straight right. But Cheyenne, really now as we enter probably the closing stanza of this round, needs to be increasing the output rather than looking to hold on there. He certainly accounted very well for himself, but at the moment it looks like it's not going to be quite enough against Matt, one of the most experienced chess boxers there is, as we noticed at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, Matt clearly reaping the benefits of his decision to quit smoking earlier this week. He's looking fit. He's actually not looking particularly either perturbed or exhausted by this, whereas I think Cheyenne looks that little bit more flustered, that little bit less energetic.
I think this is Cheyenne's best round. They're certainly both feeling the pace now. That's probably the most even of the boxing rounds.
Okay.
So Cheyenne, I think he did account for himself well there, but as you've been saying, it's the board that's going to be crucial in this one. And grim defense is tough at the best of times on the chessboard when you're playing a classical game and you've got a couple of hours on the board. But when you're down to a couple of minutes, really trying to hang on to this technically difficult position with very few counter chances, really all you can hope for is an outright blunder from your opponent in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think white was feeling the pressure on the f2 square. With the queen on c8, that pressure is essentially non-existent. I would rather have this position as black in a quick play game than in a slow play game. I think in a slow play game, you only need to find a few accurate moves, and it's going to be next to impossible for black to do anything. It's still possible for white to make some mistakes here. I don't think he's going to blunder a rook or blunder a queen, because he's too good a player for that. But, you know, he could swap his rooks off at the wrong time. He can play a passive move with his queen. My feeling is that white won't convert it this round, but he will reach a close to winning position, and then the final boxing round is going to be critical.
Slowly turn the screw, I think is what you want to do here. And we are back to the chess. Matt, how do you assess this position?
Oh! Well, it's looking a little less good. Queen f5. There must be something here for Matt. There must be something here for Matt. Queen to g8 check. King to e7. Queen to d8. He's done it. Queen to d8 check. There must be a checkmate here. There is a checkmate. Surely there's a checkmate here. I might just be a comedy elf shouting into a microphone, but I would stake my entire life on there being something here. Queen d6. Queen d6 is checkmate. Queen to d6 is checkmate. He's looking. He's checking all the permutations. He's got the win in his side, and he's done it. Oh my word! That should not have ended as it did. An absolute jabber from the black.
So I
From
think,
the black pieces, and Matt Crazy Arms Reed, just his extra experience told there.
so what happened there is you got to the round, Cheyenne thought, I have to be doing something here. You saw that tasty looking white pawn on F2 and thought, do you know what, I can generate, not just get the pawn, but I can generate some counterplay.
All right, we have a winner, don't we? What an amazing bout of chess boxing that was. All right, here we go. In the chess, our winner, Matt Crazy Arms Reed. Give both our fighters some love because that was epic. Let's grab a quick word with you, Matt. How are you feeling?
Elated. I thought I'd screwed up the chess pretty badly at the end of the round because I saw I was losing a pawn, which was the only advantage I had. And I definitely didn't want to do another boxing round with a draw, so it was a case of just got a bit lucky. I think Cheyenne grabbed that pawn and didn't realise that I could basically have a bit of an attack. So I feel very good.
And he was really making you work in the boxing. How did you find that? How did you find it your first time?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot more demanding than I thought initially. So, yeah, obviously he had the experience there. But who knows, rematch next year.
Yeah, oh, you did so well, both of you. Give him another massive round of applause. And that is the end of the Battle of the Landlords. If you want to ask them what their tenants' policy is, chase them down, have a chat with them. I don't know.
Windsor Actuarial Consultants, supporting London chess boxing.
To go into our third bout of chess boxing. How are you all feeling, audience? Has anyone made one of those beautiful little signs that we've got? More on that in the break. Yeah. So, our third bout of chess boxing. The next person to join us in the ring hails all the way from Helsinki. And he's another first-timer. Lots of cherries going boop tonight. His name is Otto. And like his namesake, Otto von Bismarck, he loves statecraft and a cold, crisp Pilsner. Yeah. Bismarck takes on a challenge with self-confidence and determination, so he says. Blood and iron. That's what he's all about. Let's see what that's all about. That's interesting. He's training out of Helsinki, where he eats nothing but rotten fish for the month before he fights. I'm not sure how his gut health is right now. Maybe a few stomach punches and we'll find out. Hopefully not. He's coming to London to win, either with a chess piece or a fist, but to win just the same. So let's make some noise. In the red corner, weighing 86 kilograms, standing at 191 centimeters, Otto Bismarck Veale. Here he comes! Make some noise for Bismarck! Keep the love coming! First time in the ring, our chess boxer from Helsinki! Give the camera some love, sir. Give the camera some love. Let's give the camera some love. Turn around. Yeah, there we go. So, he is a first-time chess boxer, but his chess ELO is 1250. Oh, someone's music cue has started a bit early. So, we're ready for our next chess boxer then. It's a great song. Another virgin joining him in the ring. In the blue corner, standing at 185 centimetres, weighing 95 kilograms. Make some noise for Anthony Toto the Robot Burashev! Wow! Go see the camera, my friend. Go see the camera. They want to see your moves. Okay, this is another first-time chess boxer. And he said he's been sent back in time by a dystopian warlord. So let's see how he plays chess. Are you ready for your third bout of chess boxing? Give it up for both our fighters!
Is he man? Is he machine? Some say half man, half machine. He's being plugged in there at the back, booted up.
The artificial Irishman getting ready to go. He's adjusting his earpiece. He must. His mechanical brain must be making so many calculations right now. Oh, he's fired up. He's fired up. This bodes well. This bodes well. A computer crash would be devastating for him at this stage, and all but certainly losing the fight.
And computer chess is really at quite a level these days. So for his opponent, you have to hope that there is flesh and blood underneath that artificial exterior. Otherwise, I think this could be over very quickly.
Well, Isaac Asimov explored.
Is it a man? Is it a machine? Who knows?
I am quite frankly perplexed, Christopher. But, you know, it's all about the fight. It's all about who is going to be Alpha Hero and who's going to be Alpha Zero.
A strong niche reference there for the chess geeks in the crowd. But a very classical opening here.
Yeah, so we've got a Queen's Gambit declined, knight to c3, good move, exerting control over the centre. Black has a number of different options here. He can defend the pawn with his knight, he can defend it with his c-pawn, he can move his c-pawn 2 squares forward, the Tarrasch defence, and exert greater control in the centre. Oh, knight to c6, an unusual move here. Now, the kind of critical element of the position is that Black doesn't have an easy pawn break. He wants to play e5 at some point, but that's going to be hard because, well, it's going to be impossible now because he's captured on d5. He's captured on d5, so now Black's main pawn break is c5, but it's blocked by a knight, whereas White can aim for e4. So I'm already preferring White's position, as befits a computer of his caliber.
And the other thing to look at here is the clock time. So you can see that Otto is taking a lot of time over his early moves, which is fine, but that could count against him later when they're really going to have to speed up in the later rounds.
So bishop to d6, you're moving your piece twice in the opening. Knight takes d5, looks possible here. Bishop to g5, bishop to g5. A good move, but if the bishop comes back to e7, what's the bishop going to do? Okay, knight f6, not a fan of that, not a fan of that at all. The d-pawn is very... And he's captured it! He's captured it! The knight's captured a pawn. Is that a free pawn, Chris?
It is in this case, but more than just the pawn, there's also the fact that the black knight is pinned against the queen.
Oh, he can levy open the king side. He can really prize it. Oh, but he has! Knight takes Now he's going to have to capture back with a pawn, and Black's king is going to be disastrously exposed. Could we see a quick win for this powerful Irish computer?
Well, if you remember, in the first bout, we were saying that the idea of castling, which Black had just done, is to tuck your king away in the corner, get it safe, but it's already lost the safety. But that was a little bit of a limp follow-up there from the machine.
Yeah, bit of a malfunction there, but we're all, well, I was going to say we're all human, but that's slightly self-defeating. Bishop d2, though, not a fan, and Bishop f5 is a good move. Black is now ahead in development, and although his king's open, although he is a pawn down, if Black can seize the initiative here, then he might get something. But a3 is a decent piece of prophylaxis, and that's the bell. Intriguing attritional start that really makes you question the nature of humanity.
Indeed, Matt. Indeed. Nonetheless, Bishop f5 there at the end. I mean, as well as a good active square, what I like about that is they can drop back to g6 and really cover off that exposed king. So a good dual-purpose move. And I'm going to interrupt there to, well, frankly, the visual speaks for itself. I don't think I need to add any words to what I'm witnessing in the blue corner.
Well, I'd have to double check, because there was a bit of a flurry there. It might be that the Bishop d2 was actually forced because of the attack on the dark squares. It may be that he had to bring it back, leaving us with this kind of double-edged position. Bishop h6 looked like the natural move.
They had Bishop h6 there available too.
Bishop h6 looked good. Was Bishop b4? Was Knight d2 available? That certainly looks like the plan you want to play in that position, but I don't know. It might be that, as a computer, he analysed it so deeply that even this humble commentator missed something.
I mean, he could be seeing 10, 15, nay, 20 moves into the future for all we know.
Possibly even thousands, if you can believe it.
But now, let's see how it goes in the boxing. Two fights I've not seen before. Otto Bismarck, we've not spoken about him very much, mainly because he wasn't wearing a morph suit. However, he looks like he would know his way around a boxing ring.
Yeah, Otto Bismarck, fan of statesman craft, fan of a crisp, cold pilsner of an evening. In many respects, you know, your archetypal human being. Complex, dignified, loves a beer.
Anthony Burachard, though, a little bit of a height advantage, and I would say a weight advantage too. 95 kilos he's listed at, and a fair bit of that looks to be muscle. And hair, dare I say. Yeah,
no, I mean, hair or wires. I suppose it's almost certainly wires. Hair would be too anthropomorphic to suggest that he is anything other than a cold, unstoppable machine.
And the bell sounds. Otto coming out, swinging Anthony, counting well. I love the jab from Anthony there. Oh, although he's shipped of blood. Oh, a couple of hefty rights. He's down. He is down.
Is he okay?
Is he out?
Is he okay?
He's down.
That looked like a big punch.
I think this could be off. Yeah, I think this is off already. That was a couple of very hefty right hands that were landed there. He looks very shaky.
I hope Anthony's okay. That was a big punch.
Yeah, it's off. It's off, and now our concern is just to see Anthony. Hopefully, he's on his feet.
Good man. Good man.
He looks a little dazed and some, but that was really a couple of very strong rights that were detonated there on his chin. He still looks like he's not entirely sure where he is, but
yeah, this doesn't bode well. Does he look concussed? I'm not a medical person. I wouldn't know, but we take this all incredibly seriously. It's nice to see his opponent coming over as well. That's very classy. We've got the medical team coming in, which is great. Safety is paramount at London Chessboxing, and some just good behaviours all round. After what was a very sort of challenging series of blows by Bismarck.
It was just, you could see there might have been a bit of trouble. It was the one right hand, the first straight right that kind of set it, and you could see the legs buckle a little bit from Anthony. He was firing back, which is often what you do when you're a little bit stunned, and he left himself open for the second harder follow-up right, which, as he saw, sent him tumbling to the canvas and his head back into the ropes. But he is up, he is talking to his corner. He'll be being checked out by the medical team here. So all fine, but a rather swift end to this third bout, and unusual to see it end in such a fashion. Normally, as you know, at the start of the evening, it's the chess that decides.
And the chess was very interestingly balanced as well. As I said, Bishop D2. I'm not sure whether Bishop H6 was possible in that position, but Bishop D2 left it so that Black could actually use his extra pieces potentially to his advantage. The long-term weakness down the G file would have been an issue, as were the double F pawns.
Toto the robot is okay, everyone. But as you can see, our wonderful health team here looking out for him. But we do have a result by knockout. Give it up for Bismarck! And let's give both our fighters an amazingly big round of applause. First timers, both of them. And amazing camaraderie. Let's grab a quick word with our winner. At your first time chess boxing, how are you feeling right now?
Amazing, of course. You know, I put a lot of effort before the match, so I'm a bit disappointed it was so, you know, fast and quick. But yeah, I'm looking forward to have a new, maybe here in London. Yeah.
And thank you so much for your amazing sportsmanship.
Can I say something in Finnish? Okei, Suomeen, Antonille, Sille Malmille, Pinaton viereen, kamut teille kaikille, kiitos. Ja Butsille ja Faijelle tietysti terveiset, Sadi. Yes.
Finnish for all the Finnish speakers. And let's just grab a quick word. Just well done from all of us. Give him a massive round of applause. How did you find the night? So apart from the knockout, obviously, but like you were amazing on the stage.
I'm not sure how much of it I remember. No, I'm okay. It's good.
Great. Give him some more love. One more time for our robots. All right, as you can see, this is a live event. We have an amazing team. Give it up for our paramedics who were straight there, and our amazing ref, Ronaldo, for making sure all our fighters are looked after tonight. So, before we take a quick break, we have two chess boxers who aren't first-timers and another international match. So, first up, another Finnish chess boxer. Big up Finland. Doing well. And this one loves horses. Who knew? He says it's his favourite animal, friend, and chess piece. So let's see how he uses his knights. He says Britain is a good country because of two things. Norwich football team and the Spice Girls. Sounds like an interesting chap. Let's bring him out. In the red corner, weighing 75 kilograms, standing at 177 centimeters, Sakari Lähderinne. Yeah, make some noise, come on! Make some noise! He loves them horses. Make some more noise for horse attacks. Get in the ring, boyo. Do you need a sugar lump for her? She need a sugar lump? Yeah, I've got one in my pocket, it's all right. So, give it up one more time for Sakari Lähderinne. Yeah! Now joining him all the way from Russia, we have someone who's been playing chess since the age of 5. Yeah. He constantly fought with guys studies, and after that he got into the boxing section. He's the perfect example of a chess boxer, he says, as he is a candidate master of sports in boxing as well as chess. Well, this guy rates himself, doesn't he? Let's see how good he is. In the blue corner, weighing 70 kilograms, standing at 173 centimeters, Nikita Razor Evstafiev! Make some noise for the Razor! Oh, he's loving the camera. Bring it down, Razor. Here he is, the Razor! Give the camera some time, buddy. Yes. Okay. The international battle is about to commence. Are you ready? Finland v Russia. Here we go. Have a great bout, guys. Enjoy.
Nikita listed as a speciality there, chess, which certainly shows. We are off with the Battle of the Baltics. Two very contrasting entrances. What did you make of that, Matt?
I mean, I, for one, was utterly terrified. But, you know, I'm just a weaselly little nerd in an elf costume, so who can blame me?
And I saw that Nikita lists his speciality as chess, which certainly shows how he's aiming to win this one. He says he's a candidate master, so that means he would be a very strong player.
Yeah, I mean, Nikita's got off to an extremely good start here. H6 was not a very purposeful move, although the queen looks exposed in the centre of the board because the queen's knight. The knight has been swapped off. Actually, horse attack got rid of his horse at the wrong time, and now that queen is very, very well positioned. If it can't be shifted, then it's an advantage, whereas if it could, then you would gain some tempo against the queen. Sorry for the Italian.
And yeah, it's all about the development at this stage, and White has got a strong advantage in development, got his pieces very well centralised, got more space in the centre of the board. If I was horse attack, I would be slowing down and waiting to show us some of those quick hands that he had in the corner.
White can lever open the position with e5 here. Bishop f4 is a very good developing move. If e5 comes in at the right time without black castling, then he could be in a world of trouble. Rook to e1, e5. Oh, queen takes g7. Queen takes g7. Now, it doesn't win a rook. It doesn't win a rook, but you've got to come up with the right... Oh, there's a trap. There's a trap here. The bishop comes to f6. You play knight takes f6 check. You play queen takes f6, and then bishop takes f7 is possible. Because then if the queen takes it, queen takes h8 is possible. Then queen takes h4, then queen takes g8, which is winning. But will that specific flurry of moves happen?
That is a lengthy line you have given us there, Matt. And I dare say that Nikita has seen all of it. Look at that.
Oh gosh, so knight f6 check, knight f6 check. Oh no, queen takes, no, ignore me, that was a poor bit of analysis and that can't happen. Yeah, that's a good move, that's just a rook. And Nikita's precious horse is under threat. If he plays knight to e7, a natural looking move, then actually it'd be black that gets smothered, mate. Knight to e7, and then knight f6 will be game over. Will he play that? It could happen, and then we'll have a horrendously early finish to this match.
Horse attack doing the smart thing and having a bit of a think, trying to draw this one out. I really do think he moved a bit too quickly at the beginning. Now, it is somewhat shutting that door after the horse has bolted, as it were.
Yeah, White proving that every Russian schoolboy knows how to play the opening, and quite frankly, Black is in a world of bother. Bishop e6, I mean, what else can you do? The mate is stopped, but I think just queen takes... Yeah, he's done it! Black has no horses left on the board and must surely be desolate at this.
He's going to have to go all out for the KO, I think, as the Finn did in the last bout.
No, this has been utterly devastating for Black, and thankfully this is a hybrid sport, so there is a discipline. Now, actually, you don't need to move the knight here, because bishop takes h6 would also be a very, very strong move. Then if you take the knight, then queen takes f8 would be strong. White can then just hoover off the pieces with a clearly winning ending, but does he want to go for a slightly quicker kill with more pieces on the board?
And look how Karl he's played it. He's played it. He's got the look of a man who knows he's got a winning position. Look how calm he is.
Yes, I suppose when one of you is called Razor and the other is called Horse Attack, it's to be expected. But Horse Attack may yet come up with a flurry of hooves in the boxing. And indeed, if he doesn't, then he's dead meat.
Off to the knacker's yard. How would you defend against the checkmate here?
Well...
Not what?
Yeah, I think taking the knight now, bishop to b5. Oh! Bishop b5 wins the queen.
I mean, it's all going off the board. That was a disastrous round of chess.
That was utterly dreadful. And really, White said before the game, he's a 2100. His specialty is chess. It's very easy to be cynical in that position, but he really played a pretty flawless game. And that was just brilliantly done. He hoovered up the pieces, put his pieces on good squares, went up with a good plan, won the G7 pawn, and Black must win this next boxing round. I would almost go as far as he'd say, as you said, Chris, he needs a knockout.
Yep, then that's not going to go another chess rally. He was playing far too... when you're up against a strong opponent like that, what you want to be doing in chess boxing is really drawing it out and getting as many boxing rounds as you can out of it. And he really rushed the opening, perhaps hoping that pace would somehow put his opponent off, but h6 early on was a bad sign, and then g7 pawn disappeared, followed by the rook, the knight, both pairs of knights off, king running out of squares rapidly. It was really very one-sided.
Yeah, actually, I think bishop b5 might even be checkmate. I think whatever piece moves to d7, queen takes f8 is mate, so it should be a checkmate in 2 if it lasts another chess round.
Yeah, indeed. So, let's see if Nikita's claim to be a candidate master, i.e. the same level in boxing, holds true as his claim in chess, because if it does, I don't rate the Finn's chances.
I mean, Sakari must know. Horse Attack must understand that his chess position is over. He's a strong enough player to know that. He was caught unawares, essentially, and he's gonna have to hope for a Hail Mary here. He basically has to get a knockout, and
well, we saw in the last match it can happen.
It's definitely possible. It's definitely possible, but Nikita's job is clear. Razor, you survive one round, you've won this.
These both look to be strong boxers, but Nikita landing the heavier blows to start with. I don't think he's going to try and just draw this one out. I think he's going to show his mastery to the crowd here in both disciplines. But that's a stiff jab that the Finn has, and a strong right to follow it up. This is high quality of boxing, the highest quality of the night.
But that's good. I mean, that's good work by Nikita. Like, Nikita does not look like a man who's going to be knocked out this round.
I don't know. There's some heavy punches being thrown by both sides, so it could happen. I'm happy for the Finn here that he's getting to show his proficiency in boxing, which he clearly does have. That's another right that lands, though, from Nikita. Some power punches winging their way in. Good straight right, though. Oh, yeah, good combo, but covering up there, Nikita. He's not really perturbed by that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good strategy, isn't it? Given the nature of this hybrid sport, if you survive this, you win overall. So there's no need. He doesn't need to prove his might in the boxing, because the chess and boxing are of equal merit.
He doesn't need to, but I think he wants. It's the first time he's seen him in this country, and he has chess boxed before in Russia, where they do take it very seriously. So he's really hoping to leave an impression here. Yeah, Russia and Finland, two countries with a past. Russia has certainly overrun Finland a couple of times. So if you know your history about the Russian Empire, then Finland was part of it, and more recently, I believe, in the 20th century. It looks like Russia is dominating this one too, Matt.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very intellectual analogy, and you know, as tempting pedant that I am to find flaws in that, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, Finn, is it patronising to say this is a plucky performance? I mean, actually, the boxing looks relatively even, but this feels like it's going to be an honourable defeat rather than a contest. And it might be that we're talking about horse attackers one for the future when he's you know, a bit more experienced in the chess and less open to that kind of onslaught.
I mean, the Finns, their most recent sporting success has obviously been qualifying for European Championships recently for followers of Norwich City, like horse attack. I'm going to interrupt that one because he is living up to his moniker and unleashing a bit of an attack here on Nikita. He's certainly going out on his sword if he's going to be losing on the chess.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, Chris. And okay.
You can see a bit of a cut underneath the left eye there of horse attack, so he's certainly been shipping a few.
But that's not a concern as far as his victory in the fight is, right? I mean, I think there are only seconds left before we're back to the chess, where, as mentioned, it looks like White may have a checkmate in two, and that's the bell. That's the bell.
Only seconds left in the chess, but you see the acknowledgement there of two high-class boxers, and a nod and a tap of the gloves at the end there. They both know what is coming, but they both enjoyed demonstrating a high level of boxing skill here in the ring. Coming back to Norwich City in the Finnish national football team, so Team Huki I was going to reference some of the other well-known sporting Finn, but I would say that horse attack I would want to be seeing more of in the ring here, and perhaps becoming the second best known sporting Finn on these shows, because that was some excellent boxing, and I think probably his chess is going to be a bit better than he's shown us, but he's really overwhelmed by such a powerful opponent.
Yeah, I think knight takes d4 was that was a slightly kind of careless strategic idea, and I think he was unfortunate to come up against an opponent who played so accurately. That's not going to happen to him every day. It looks like the extra chess experience is going to tell here, but White still has to see the right plan to win it this round. It might be that if he doesn't see bishop b5 check, that he lasts a little bit longer. Like he might instantly play queen takes f8, in which case he could last another round if he plays sensibly, circumspectly, kind of defends grittily, and then he'll have an extra round of boxing to work with. But yeah, it's difficult to see anything other than a Russian victory today.
Yeah, he looks, again, very calm in his ring, being talked to by his cornerman. Another star of the chessboxing firmament, Dima Agasarian, a three-weight world champion, no less. So he's certainly got some good advice in the corner. Not that I think he needs it, because he's one of the most devastating performances that I have seen. Well, I wasn't saying in a long time, but then we have just witnessed a knockout in the bout before. So it's power chessboxing.
And we're back, and I think, Chris. Oh, he's taken d5. I liked bishop b5 there. I liked bishop b5. That looked like that was inching towards checkmate, but pawn takes d5, still a very, very strong move. Black really in serious trouble here. He just has to find the right series of moves. It doesn't matter how grovelly, it doesn't matter how defensive he is. He just has to survive another round so that he can maybe, just maybe, win at the boxing.
That's it. You want to draw this out as long as you can. What he wants to avoid here, yeah. That's good.
No, that was too quick. That was too quick. Is rook e1? Rook e1, is that mating? Is that checkmate? No, queen takes f8, also a very good move, a very, very strong move. King to d7 is forced.
Yeah, the king looks like it might get out onto the queen. So king d7, bishop b5, check. King c8, it can't...
Black is thinking here. Black is clearly a bit discombobulated. He doesn't know what's going on. He has to play something. Otherwise, he's going to be called out for stalling. I don't think he's doing it deliberately, but he knows his position is dire. So now, king to d7. What does White do next? Does he take on f7? Perhaps not. Queen e7 might be sort of... I mean, obviously, the position's awful, but he could survive another round. King d7 to c8 is definitely... Yeah, he's played it. He's played it. He had to. He's taken it straight away. He's taken it straight away, so he's going to pick up a bishop. White is going to have an extra rook, 2 extra bishops, and 4 4 extra pawns, ladies and gentlemen. That's like being 9, 10, maybe 11 goals up. But in this game, there is another element. There is still the boxing and horse attack. Horse attack is playing slowly. Is it an illusion of thought? Does he want us to think that he's thinking? He only has 2 moves here. He only has 2 moves, but maybe he knows that he might just get to another round of boxing.
And quite an explosive round of boxing it was too, so I would give him a chance if it gets into another round of the box. But as you say, it's completely one-sided. A devastating position for white here on the board.
The king can hunker up on b8, and actually white is going to have to take a little bit of time to get his rooks into the game. So you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I think we're going to see another round of boxing.
Very canny stuff from horse attack here to drag this one out.
Yeah, I think he should move his king now. He's done it. He has done it. Just carefully. That's another piece gone. That is another piece carefully snuffed out by Razor, the Sweeney Todd of the chess world. Horse attack. Well, I've already made a dead meat joke, so perhaps I'm not going to flog that one any further. Hey. No, I'm sorry. That was undignified, and I apologise unreservedly. So once again, Black only has a couple of moves. He's thinking he really will only last one more round of chess because time is going to be such a big factor. It's an instant move, and it's a really good one. In chess, you should talk to your pieces. Not literally, that would be sort of slightly disconcerting. But if you look at your rooks and say, okay, these guys aren't doing anything, my bishops and queen aren't enough to checkmate him on his own, maybe I can throw them into the attack. And that rook has got an excellent future, either on e8 next to the queen, or 1 square further back diagonally from the queen. And I think the win is probably only about 10 or so moves away.
But that'll be next round, because horse attack again, having a long, drawn-out think. Where shall I go? Yeah, let's scratch the chin.
Oh, he's played a6, and queen f7 instantly. Classy play by the Russian. His extra experience is really telling here. He's barely put a foot wrong. Now, the issue with a6 is, although the king can go to a7, that bishop can swing back and attack it. And that's the bell! He's gonna last one more round, and one more round only of boxing, and he has to come out swinging.
I was very impressed there with the way the Finn drew that one out. I mean, we all knew what was going on, but that's what you have to do, and quite frankly, we, and I hope you at home, want to see another round of what was the best boxing action of the night so far. And they were really going at it, hammer and tongs, those two.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the best thing that could have happened for this bout. The only way it was going to be competitive was for him to draw it out. And it's a bit of a fine line from a sportsmanship perspective. I think given that his clock is now in dire straits and he's a less experienced player, I'd give him the benefit of the doubt there. But you've always got to be careful. It's why we have a ref, and Canwell is a very experienced arbiter, and I suspect she drew the conclusion that, okay, bit uncertain, but allow it with the absence of VAR.
I mean, you could argue that having such a difficult position, as that means you have to think a little bit harder than you would do otherwise. But looking at how quickly he was moving in the first round, you can clearly see the difference there. But it means we get to see one more round of boxing. I was intrigued by that first one. The cut under horse attacks, we can see already. I think Nikita will probably quite enjoy trying to exploit that with his accurate power punch that we saw in the first round.
And for those of us who are as fascinated by this as us, please do check us out on Instagram at London_chessboxing, and follow us on Twitter. The handle is LDN Chessboxing. Really great accounts, and we'll keep you up to date on everything that's going on in the London chessboxing scene.
Yeah, and back to the action. It's a slightly cagey opening to the second round. Horse attack, noted, needs to fit. He needs to force the pace, and he is unloading a little bit there.
Yeah, and he needs to, right? He absolutely needs to. And this is some tricky punches there. Classic, I bet that hurt moment.
Some strong body punching, but you can see that Nikita just soaked that one up like somebody who has significant boxing experience. This is really one of the most impressive all-round performances I've seen from the Russian.
No, I mean, Nikita really doesn't need to attack here, but you know, he's coming out swinging. It's not a completely defensive show by any means. And actually, as an analogy with chess, sometimes attack is the best form of defense. If you just defend and hope that you last, you know, it's a bit like sort of sending on a defender at the end of the match. Sometimes, you know, high quality team you can really hold out, but it's a risky strategy, whereas he clearly fancies himself well enough in the boxing that he can, you know, just make a few punches himself. But actually, horse attack was a really, really commendable performance here. With a minute and 20 seconds to go, I just don't think it's going to be enough unless Nikita leaves himself wide open and gets, well, clattered, for want of a better word.
I think he's just wanting to show us his skill set. As he rightly said, he doesn't need to attack. I think he's really enjoying the atmosphere. He's come all the way from Russia for this. And I think, if anything, he's enjoying the fact that the chess has gone on a little bit. Now, Nikita is complaining about a blow to the back there. The referee rather not stepping in. Usually that's a sign of some quality boxing as well. When you see the ref not needing to step in and separate the boxers, it's a sign it's good, clean work.
A few big hits by horse attack there. But yeah, once again, Nikita just out on the counter, and
he's very good at pinning his opponent up against the ropes. So just when you think you've got him, he'll just kind of press onto you and back you up and unleash a flurry of his own. It's back and forth. It's a good even fight, this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think both of these guys have equipped themselves really well. It's been a great spectacle. And I'm going to go so far as to say that I think Nikita could be a future belt contender here. Player of his ability with this kind of boxing now is going to do well.
Yeah, so you noted at the beginning of our broadcast that we have Karl Ouch come up in the headline bout of the evening. Karl Ouch, I would say, of a similar level to what we're seeing here from Nikita. Very strong chess player. A little bit of action after the bell, but horse attacks. That apologises there. They both go back to their corners, and now we really will be seeing the final throws of the chess now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Nikita knows the best of the time. He'll either lose on time or he'll lose in the chess. Sorry, not Nikita. Horse attack. Nikita has played a phenomenal game. Very, very impressive, very measured. He's played really quickly, and actually, this is probably the most impressive debut fight I've seen on London soil. I know he's fought a few times elsewhere, but I mean, Nikita just very good, just very high quality.
Hasn't put a foot wrong from really opening to converting his advantage. He's gone about this in a very classy yet aggressive manner. And I think the attacking nature of his play is something that will really stand him in good stead as we hopefully see him again in his career on these shorts developing. I want to see more of this guy.
I'd like to see more of this guy too. Horse attack, he gives a look to people he knows in the crowd. He knows that it's over. He knows that it's over. And it's just a case of, I'm in the dream scenario. He might. There's maybe, what, a 3-4% chance of him lasting one more round. He needs to play quickly and accurately, but given how long he's spent on his moves so far, and his position is getting trickier and trickier, I think White can convert this in about 6 or 7 more moves. Black's got so many weaknesses. White's pieces are so threatening. He's going to win the queen. He'll land a bishop on b6 or something, and he'll get his other rook in the game, and I think that's it. And I think White will play really quickly, and then Black will either lose on time or get checkmated.
Yep, I mean, yep. As you point out, he needs to activate his rooks technically, Nikita, but it's so overwhelming. Yeah, the bishop will come back to e3, I imagine, cover the bolt hole that horse attack tried to make at the end of the last round. And really, there's going to be nowhere to go. And there's really not any pieces left to defend his king. If you count them up, he has 5, I believe, including that king. So there's nothing to beat your opponent off with there.
About to start, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is it. I think this is going to be it. So, yeah.
Oh, resignation.
Oh, he's resigned.
Now, on the one hand, that's from a pure chess perspective, that is a very classy thing to do, recognizing that you are completely hopeless. However, I might have quite liked to have seen the win demonstrated on the board for the crowd in tonight.
Yeah, White had played such excellent chess. It would have been really instructive to see, given the time situation and the fact that he doesn't want to go to another round, how he'd have converted that quickly.
I will explain. So, the winner by submission, which means that one fighter has conceded the win to the other. the winner by submission is Razor! Give both fighters a huge round of applause. Really, really interesting bout, guys. One of you nailing it in the chess, one of you nailing it in the boxing. Do you have a few words about your win, sir? Words about your win?
My loss.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, my last.
Oh, sorry, your loss. Sorry, about your loss. I'm so sorry. Do you know what? It's been a long night. Sorry. Yeah. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling quite bad at the moment, but I have to say Nikita was really, really tough in chess and in boxing. Especially, he surprised me how good and tough boxer he is.
Well, you did really well yourself. Give him a huge round of applause. You're really slamming out those punches. And on your win, I'm so sorry, my brain is frazzled. How are you feeling?
It feels so good. I'm thankful everyone who came here. He didn't like our fight. And I am thankful my wife. I respect her. She support me always.
What an amazing bout. Give both our fighters a huge round of applause. And I think we are just about ready for our final bout of the evening. John! Give them another round of applause as they exit the ring.
Windsor Actuarial Consultants,
How are
supporting
those
London
snake
chessboxing.
voting things going? Where's Jeremy? Jeremy! I can't speak anymore. It's been a long month. How's Jeremy doing? Oh, okay. Clearly, where's Nigel? Where's Nigel? He's on the floor. There he is, upside down. Brilliant. So, our final bout of the evening is for a title. Ooh. And the title is, oh, there's the bell. Hold it up so we can see. Oh, it's shiny. Look at that. And the title, I really can't speak anymore. Heavyweight Champion. World Light Heavyweight Champion. There we go. Exciting times. So let's tell you a little bit about the first fighter that's going to join us. Now, he is still single, he says. So that's the first thing he wanted you to know. He's still single. He's also the current holder of the Brexit belt. Who was here for the Brexit belt? Yeah. During that bout, he won the belt after hitting a UKIP MEP so hard, his whole party collapsed. So let's see what he can do tonight. He said, like his party of choice, the Lib Dems, he predicts he shall almost certainly come third in the contest of two. Let's make some noise and bring him out in the red corner, weighing 87 kilograms, standing at 187 centimeters, Toby Slowby Wines! Give the camera some love, Toby! Give the crowd some love! Now Toby's got a pretty even record, 2 wins, 2 losses. His elo is 1400. Let's see who he's up against. Joining him in the ring is a chess boxer who learnt to play chess on Skid Row in LA. Oh, I know. He's so confident about his chess abilities that he's been known to do press-ups between chess moves. Now we need to see that, don't we? Yes, we do. Let's bring him out in the blue corner, weighing 89 kilograms, standing at 182 centimeters, Karl. Ouch! Keep the love coming! Yeah! Give the crowd some love. Give the camera some love, Karl. Give the camera some love. Yeah! Let's not forget those viewers on Twitch. That's right. Now, Karl's record is pretty good. It looks like he's undefeated with 7 wins under his belt. This is going to be an amazing bout for a title. Give it up for both our fighters!
Karl Ouch, the man, the myth, the legend. Here tonight, what is the scale of the task facing Toby White?
Yeah, I mean, this looks... Put it this way, Karl Ouch, aka Karl Struggle, is legitimately one of the strongest chess players in the UK. He's a FIDE master, he has a hatful of international master norms. You know, he is really good at chess, really, really good, and a decent boxer, like a really decent boxer too. And that's the bell.
So, Matt, just how good is Karl Ouch at chess?
So, Karl Ouch is legitimately one of the strongest chess players in the UK, and I, for one, am slightly awed to be in his presence. I can barely commentate on what he does. Everything is so transcendently good. I mean, bishop b5, bishop a4, all these moves just composed of such a rare beauty. Bishop b3, this is the Spanish opening, or the Ruy Lopez, named after a legendary Spanish priest. It's all theory so far. It's all very, very good. Toby White, bishop c5 is the Archangel variation, I believe. c3 hoping to play d4. I mean, Karl is just playing on memory here. Knight takes e4, knight takes e4, and now d4. Really high quality stuff. White gives up a pawn, but with the king still in the center, the rook can come to e1, the e5 pawn is in a bit of trouble, so actually black needs to play very accurately here, and given Toby's less experience, I'm a little bit worried for him at this stage. I would have played something a little bit more circumspect, like, you know, a hippo or a modern or some such, and oh, yeah, it's already looking very, very challenging. F5. Oh, knight g5 is a good move. Knight g5 is a very good move.
I mean, I'm just impressed by Toby taking on this level of challenge. I mean, this is a very, very strong player who he's facing here. So, frankly, I think the crowd should be getting behind him at every opportunity here.
That is quality stuff from the crowd, but oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Queen h5. Karl Struggle has used 18 seconds on the clock. I think it's due for a press-up. Are we going to get a press-up, Karl? I mean, he can't hear me, obviously, but, you know, I like to think that we're simpatico. He's known for doing press-ups in between moves. We can but hope. G6, queen takes h7. Oh, God, this is... this is horrible. This is horrible. Toby White has just come up against a better player, and I really, really hope he lasts at least one boxing round, because that S7 square looks horrendous. Absolutely horrendous.
He's got it covered by the rook, though, so yes, terrible position, but there's chance to survive here.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Chris. As long as Toby can defend, and queen e7 is a good, practical move, vacating the d8 square for the king.
Yeah, I think we're going to get some boxing action coming up. That's what we want to see.
Knight f7, knight f7. Oh, that's a good move. But you guys want to see some boxing, right?
You've got to take that off, I think. You have to take that knight.
Yeah, and he's done it. It's a good practical solution by Toby. He is completely lost. He's completely lost here, but it's going to take Karl a bit of time. Bishop g5 is a threat here, winning material. Queen g8 is a good move. Yeah, Bishop g5 is going to play. Played f3. f3 also an excellent move. Far be it from me to criticise Karl out. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If I was Toby, I'd be playing the Finnish gambit and just having a good long think here.
Yeah, I think this is... I mean, I think if Black can play... I mean, in an ideal world, Queen h4 will be possible here. I think g3 is possible. Oh, he's moved his rook.
If you touch it, you've got to move it.
Yeah,
Don't just go touching it like that.
That is the rule, that is the rule. We take this very seriously, ladies and gentlemen, chessboxing being the archetypal professional sport. If you touch a piece, you must move it, and I think he's going to have to. And then that knight drops off the board, which makes Black's task harder.
Now, there might have been something interesting with bishop takes h2, Matt. Does that offer anything?
That's the bell, that's the bell. Yeah, bishop takes h2. My word, was bishop takes h2 a resource? Bishop takes h2, king
takes h2, queen h4. Yeah, then the king goes back. But I think then the queen f2 check. But of course, you don't have to take the bishop.
Yeah, I think the crucial thing you have to do is after bishop takes h2, you have to kind of say mea culpa, play king to h1, then after knight takes g3, because the queen wouldn't be hitting the e1 square. Maybe you can then play queen takes h2, queen h4 check, king g1, queen h1 check, king to f2, and you might be holding on there. But yeah, bishop takes h2. Actually, yeah, Black had an opportunity there, and there was us thinking that it was game over.
And it shows that even the great Karl can, if you do take your eyes off the board, as it were, you can leave yourself open to a counterpunch in the most overwhelming of positions.
Yeah, I think in these games against really top quality opposition, you have to seize your chances whenever you can, and that might be Toby Slowby White's only opportunity in this game.
You almost don't want to point it out to him afterwards, I think, because that's the kind of move that, if it was me, I would be kicking myself afterwards. What a chance against the legend Karl to have an opportunity like that.
And actually, after king h1, queen h4 would have threatened knight g3, so maybe that would have been it.
So let's see how Toby is in the box. So Karl, a well-built man, definitely. We talked up his chess ability, but he is no slouch in the ring. Two big lads, and of course, the more you go up in the weight classes, this goes up heavyweight, the more power and the more potential for a stoppage. And Toby is certainly coming out like a man possessed who knows that he has to fire off in this round.
Yeah, I think, oh, God, yeah, Toby absolutely spot on with his tactics here. And Karl has not had a great start to the fight, has he? Like, Toby got some good hits in there.
He has shipped a couple of powerful rights to the face. And Toby is certainly demonstrating that he is a strong boxer. And he looks in mean shape, I have to say.
Yeah, that is not a man who... I mean, if Toby weren't such a lovely, gentle guy, he would be absolutely terrifying. As it is, he's doing a cracking job. He's got his tactics spot on. You don't know that he's going to survive one more round of chess. He might, but he needs to get his blows in while he can.
Had he moved, though, at the end of the round, or was bishop takes h2 still there, or was that before the end?
It was such a flurry. I don't know. I think the knight went off. I have a feeling that it's no longer possible. But we'll check. Once the board is back, we will check and we'll provide some up-to-date analysis once the boxing's over.
Because if it is still there, that would be really quite an amazing blow.
It really would. It really would. and like absolutely astonishing. I mean, of course, I think Karl would have the opportunity to bail out in a repetition, if nothing else, with king takes queen, queen h4, king g1, takes on e1, and then repeat on h2 and g1, and then, you know, Karl's not lost at that point, but that's certainly given his chess advantage, not what he would want, particularly with white pieces.
And given how the boxing is going as well, with Toby definitely on top, so it would then be down to the boxing. Arrows unloading a combination. The referee said, I think Karl might be taking. Karl might be taking an 8 count there in the corner. A standing 8 count administered by referee Ronaldo. Surely he's concerned enough about Karl to need to give him the enforced break.
Yeah, it's sort of good intervention by Ronaldo there. Karl is he's not had a great round. He's just looking a bit off the pace.
And still 45 seconds left, so Toby has a chance to force a stoppage here.
Okay, yeah, this is genuinely super competitive now. Toby is so far ahead in the boxing, right? This looks like, I mean, it's almost comparable to the chess.
It's the joy of the sport. Oh, and a huge right hand, Karl tumbling back into, and the uppercut.
This is looking. Karl really needs to. He really needs to to stop any more big blows coming in.
Ronaldo is really having a close look. They're having a mince at the standing 8. This is remarkable effort from Toby. Yeah, really unleashing here.
Yeah, good. Okay, only 10 seconds to go, and I think Karl should survive this, but what impact will it have on his chess?
I mean, I think, yeah.
That's a bad one. Karl needed that. Karl really needed a big smile on his face. He knows that he dodged a bit of a bullet there.
A bloodied face there for Karl Ouch. That was really a Herculean effort from Toby Slowby White there. But I take my elfish hat off to him for that.
Your hat and your ears and all. Yeah, Toby, he may call himself Slowby, but there was nothing slouchy or sloth-like about his fighting there. That was a quality performance, really, really high quality.
Cornerman Mike Botley having to wipe the blood from Karl Ouch's mouth. That was, for me, and having talked up the last boxing between the Finn and the Russian, for me that was the round of the night in terms of pugilistic action.
One of the most enjoyable rounds of boxing I have ever seen in my time commentating on it, particularly given the situation in the chess. It is really all to play for now. It's so exciting. And you know, if you have any friends who have not yet tuned in, please, we're still live on Twitch at twitch.tv/London Chessboxing. You can follow us on Instagram on London_Chessboxing, and our Twitter handle is LDN, all capitals, Chessboxing with a capital C. And we're about to come back.
Thank you, Matt. Certainly some excellent content to look forward to there. Now, we were just talking, was there still a remarkable possibility on the board?
So, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it may shock you to hear that...
he's played it!
Oh, and he's played... Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we completely missed this move. Now, king h1 was forced. If the king had taken the bishop... Oh no! But he's missed at the knight. No, that doesn't work. It doesn't work.
He should have played the queen first. He had a remarkable resource there.
But then queen g8 would have been checkmate. Then queen g8 would have been checkmate. And Karl must have seen that. If he'd taken the bishop, which looked like a gift, then the queen would have come into h4 check. The king would have had to move back. The rook would have been taken. The king would have moved back. And we'd have had a draw by repetition. And then it would have gone to the boxing where black would have surely won. But as it is, black must have thought that he had a win here. But now, white's threatening checkmate. Black's attack is dying out. It could be over. Can he play knight h3? I don't know. Oh, no! Queen is checkmate! He's got a checkmate!
No, he's given up his queen!
It's a queen
that is a lovely finish. A queen sacrifice.
Beautiful win.
That is remarkable. He didn't... That is a queen sack.
What a game of chess!
That is the class of the man, Karl Ouch, giving the crowd a queen sacrifice there. I mean, I would be showering the board with gold coins, had I any, in my elf costume.
Oh, Oh, you wonderful man, Karl Strugnall. What a glorious end to a wonderful night of chess boxing. That was just spectacular. He saw that he had to move the king back to h1. Toby took his chance with bishop takes h2, but he didn't have the follow-up. And actually, I think the threat of queen g8.
Exactly.
That was the key thing.
Is
So
really
bishop
heavy.
takes h2 didn't work, but it was a great
It's
try.
really beautiful.
I mean,
Sir,
as expected,
I'm ready to
our
announce
shoes
our
further
winner
than
by checkmate.
not just any old checkmate.
Keep the noise coming! And give it up for both fighters. It's really heavy. Let's grab a few words with our winner, Karl. Anything to say about your new shiny belt?
Can I permit myself a pun?
A pun? Of course you can. We like a pun, don't we?
Slow be it. It's good, slow.
Slow be it.
Slow be it.
I mean, what do you think of a pun? Yeah, give him a cheer. He was the winner. And Toby, Slowby, let's bring it around to you. How you feeling? Any words?
Tired. Gutted. I feel like I did exactly what you wanted me to do.
Well, you think that was his master plan all along?
Just, yeah. Survive one round of boxing because he likes to be hit. And
And how you hit him hard.
I'm actually smiling right now. Look at that. He clearly enjoyed it.
Give it up for both our fighters. That was your title belt of the night. Go say bye to the crowd, guys. Lap up this applause. Go take a walk around the ring. Go say, the crowds are clapping you. Come on, give them some love. Give them some love. Yeah. All right. Now, yes, you may exit the ring. And you're going to pose a bit more beautiful. It's really heavy, that belt, but you can use it as a mirror. You can. It's to hide the fat, so he says. What fat? Anyway, we want to thank you all for coming tonight. Have you had a good night? Yeah! Can I hear one more time from the chessboxing virgins in the room? Have you had a good night? Yeah! It's been our pleasure to have you, and to everyone at home, we hope you've enjoyed following us on Twitch. I've got a few big thank yous to make. We want to say a massive thanks to Dylan Goldsmiths, our graphics designer, Christopher Patterson and staff at Protocol Sports Marketing for the amazing graphics. Also, we are back next year for our St. Patrick's Day Bash on the 14th of March 2020. Stick it in your diaries. We're going to be at the Dome. And if you need a chess boxing fix in the meantime, there's a podcast. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, thank you. The Chess Boxing Podcast. Follow that on all your usual channels. The website is londonchessboxing.com. And on Twitter, we're at LDN Chessboxing. And Insta, London_chessboxing. There is an after party at Aces and Eights, which is opposite the venue. Come have a drink with us, enjoy yourselves. And I think that's it for the... Oh, and I've got to thank the people from the Dome, Aaron Soft, and his amazing team, all the tech staff, all the production team, our sponsor, Windsor Actual Consultants. And last but not least, let's give it up one more time for all our amazing chess boxers tonight. Yes! Some of them for the first time in the ring. You saw some punches, you heard some puns. I hope you had a good time. We'll see you in the new year. Have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Those words from Gemma, our host there, other than to say it has been one of the highest quality chess boxing evenings. We've seen a KO We've seen a queen sack in the last game of the night.
Yeah.
It's had everything.
I mean, that last game, the chess, the boxing, the chess again, was simply spectacular. I'm so glad there was a belt on offer there, because that was a real testament to how exciting this can be. We'll be back on the 14th of March 2020. I think we need to thank again Dylan Goldsmith, Christopher Patterson, everyone at Protocol Sports Marketing, Windsor Actuarial Consultants, everyone here at the Dome, the tech guys, everything's been fantastic, and I hope you've enjoyed it watching at home as well.
Absolutely. So to everyone who's been watching on Twitch, the last thank you of the night goes to you. Do tune in again, send the link to your friends, so next time hopefully we'll have just as high a quality sound event and everything to see. Twitch.tv/London Chessboxing.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.